G'day Cobs, it's Rubes3497 here and it's great to have your company. As always, before we begin this review, as I am hearing impaired, I do tend to speak a little bit louder than most other people. As always, I'm wearing my hearing aids, have my two hearing devices here to ensure that I am not yelling and do edit my videos, but in the event I unintentionally blow out your eardrums, I do apologise in advance and thank you very much for your understanding. To the review. To those who play Jaws Unleashed comes a contemporary title to the shark-themed action RPG genre, Maneater, developed by Tripwire Interactive.
The game's narrative has you, the shark, evolving from a pup all the way up to a mega, taking revenge against a fisherman who, without ruining anything for you, has wronged you cruelly. The game is in third person, open world, has light RPG elements, and has a vast environment ranging from swamps, resorts, and the ocean for you to explore and cause havoc in.
I guess it's like they say, the seaweed is always greener in somebody else's lake, or in this case, ocean, bayou, swamp, resort. Take your pick, my friends. Take your pick. The game throws you straight into the story from the get-go, from the perspective of a reality TV show, which I think is quite ingenious myself. This is, however, after you get past the longest loading screen I think I have possibly ever witnessed since Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex.
Seriously, I felt Christmas inch its way closer whilst I waited for the game to load. And no, I have not edited this loading screen you're seeing right now. This is legitimately what it is, at least on Xbox. I don't even know what to say as a filler right now. I'm just trying not to keep it awkwardly silent here. I mean, Jaws Unleashed, despite what people say, is an absolute cult classic, and you can't convince me otherwise, you uncultured glass.
My initial thoughts right at the beginning of the game was, have I missed something? Have I unintentionally pressed a button and skipped a major plot point or a cutscene, or has my game glitched and I've been thrown into a cutscene I'm not supposed to see yet? I get that because this game is from the perspective of a reality TV show, the game starts off as if you've come back from a commercial break, which again I think is a little cute and I think is a little ingenious as well. However, it's as if I'm supposed to know who these people are straight up off the bat. And I don't like that personally. I like to sort of be given context beforehand as to who I'm dealing with, what they are, and why they're relevant to the story. Which this game is very easy to pick up. It is not hard at all. It is also highly predictable. This is just my personal interpretation. That is all. As mentioned before, the purpose of Maneater is to evolve your shark.
The way evolution takes place is through the completion of story quests, side quests, finding evolution caches, and taking out bounty hunters. Evolution can also be achieved by consuming various aquatic life who have certain forms of evolution attached to them, albeit this would take a lot of time to accomplish. Without spoiling too much, the types of evolution you achieve depend on how you invest your resources in the grotto, a home base for your shark, and where the magic takes place.
Something I think Tripwire could have taken advantage of via evolution or even boss battles are deep sea creatures. I think that is a really big missed opportunity in this game. Considering it's not meant to be realistic, it is supposed to be fun and out there. Could you imagine fighting a kraken as a boss battle? How cool that would be. That could just be me, but I would love that personally. Or even an evolution or type of armor that may allude to a deep sea creature like the kraken. I think it's a bit of a missed opportunity. However, a good possible DLC point that Tripwire could incorporate should they decide to do DLC. The campaign for Maneater is going to take you anywhere from 8 to 10 hours, maybe 10 to 12 hours, but certainly may take you a lot less as well. From my experience, 2 hours into my gameplay, I had already completed 33% of the main story. Now, this did include myself 100%ing an area as best as I could at the time for the evolution that I was, and also included myself completing the story missions, collectible hunting, and side missions as well. I wasn't expecting the game to be overly long, but I also wasn't expecting to be a third of the way through the game 2 hours into it either. On the topic of Maneater's campaign, the missions, unfortunately, in Maneater are quite lackluster and they are extremely repetitive.
I had an instance where I had to eat 10 of a certain species, and the very next mission on my list was to eat the exact same species. But instead of eating 10, I had to eat 8. Now, this isn't to say that gouging in the game isn't fun, but some better variety I think would have been refreshing.
Now, Maneater does have mechanics in-game which work fairly well. One such feature is a lock-on feature, which in some areas for enemies works really good, but is not so fluid in some other instances.
I found the less that was going on in the environment, the better the mechanic worked, whereas the more that was going on, the less it assisted with what I was trying to achieve. As the shark, you can decide the way to take out your foe with a good old left-right goodnight tail whip, or using those pearly whites you were blessed with.
Now, evolution does help with this, which is a feature I really like, because depending on the armor set you're using will depend on the type of damage you inflict onto your enemies. If you cause too much trouble within the Maneater world, you will be hunted by hunters. This is a great way to farm XP, but is also a way to bring out a bounty hunter. There are multiple bounty hunters in the game, each carrying a different set of evolution or a unique evolution. Once you take out the bounty hunter, you are more than welcome to keep increasing your notoriety level to keep bringing out the next and bringing out the next. However, be warned, the higher level notoriety, the higher level the hunters are, as well as the bounty hunters. Primarily, this mainly affects their boats or their weapons, not the humans themselves, because you are a shark, you can just eat them. But it can become a very overpowering situation very quickly. So I would highly recommend that before you engage in a massive fight, ensure you are at the right evolution state and you do have a good armor set to go with that. Keeping in tune with the game's theme of a documentary setting, the game also has a narrator voiced by Chris Parnell, who basically is your comic relief throughout the experience. He provides jokes at either the best or worst times, gives you genuine facts about your shark or other aquatic life you may come past, or even takes a dig at your play style.
The artist spent 16 years building this sculpture out of trash pulled from the lake, only to have it thrown back in the lake by intoxicated locals.
Depending on your humor preference, this will be hit or miss for you. I personally liked it myself, but again, it is definitely personal preference. I can definitely see this game becoming increasingly popular within the modding community. The game itself has so much potential, and I would not put it past the modding community to enhance that gameplay just a little bit more. Now, don't get me wrong, Maneater isn't a bad game by any means. I do enjoy it. It's just repetitive, and I think it could use some more unique content. Like I said, imagine fighting a deep sea creature like the Kraken. That would be great. This game is not meant to be serious. It is supposed to be out there. I think take advantage of that and make a really cool DLC to further enhance the gameplay and create a little bit more of an engaging experience for the players. Now, if you were a fan of Jaws Unleashed, honestly, I'm inclined to say you will like this game. That game was also repetitive and lacked a little bit of content. This is just an extreme version of a shark game. Now, is Maneater worth buying straight away? Up to you. Personally, I would wait till it's on sale for maybe $30, $40 Australian. I bought it at release for $60. It's not worth $60 in my personal opinion. I just think the lack of content and the repetitiveness doesn't justify spending that much on a game. $30, $40 price point though, go nuts. Totally worth it. If you're after a game to 1000G easily or platinum, very easy game to do so. Not much goes into the achievements, it's primarily story based, a little bit grindy just with the collectible hunting, however, very straightforward, very quick game to get your achievement score or your platinum trophies up. Maneater isn't a Game of the Year title by any means, however, it is a fun game. It is very quirky, and at times it is humorous as well. And I would really like to see Tripwire expand on this Maneater universe just a little bit more with some DLC content to further enhance the gameplay for their players and create a bit more of an engaging experience for us to dive into.